In the last section, we started putting together a little program to look at a list of different URLs and make an HTTP request to each one. The purpose of which is just to verify whether or not the domain is responding to traffic. And so in theory, if Facebook.com or Amazon.com go down, our program should print out some message that says, hey, it looks like Amazon.com might be down and not responding to traffic. Now we created our slice of URLs right here. We are iterating over that slice, and now we're going to write a little function to take this link and make an actual request to see if that particular address is responding to traffic or not. So underneath our main function, let's put together another function. We'll call this one, how about check link? So it will take a link, which is a string, and it will make a HTTP request to it and decide whether or not the link or the URL is actually responding to traffic. So we'll first start off inside of here by receiving the link, which remember is essentially our URL, and we'll make an actual GET request to it. So we've done this previously a couple sections ago. Remember, it's http.get, and then we pass in the address that we want to make the request to. Then we get two values back from calling this function. The first is a struct representing the actual response that came back, and then the second is an error message if one occurred or if an error occurred. Now in this case, we don't really care about the response object that comes back. We only care about the error value that comes back, because all we're trying to do here is decide whether or not the website is responding to traffic. So we're only going to really be considering the error that comes back, and we don't care about the response at all. Essentially, if this error value right here, if there's actual value in here, if it's not nil, then that means that, well, okay, we might have an issue with this website and we need to print out an appropriate error message. So we'll add in a little check here. We'll say if error is not nil, then that means that there must be something wrong with this particular website, represented by link right here. In that case, we'll print out format.println, and we'll say link plus our string might be down. And we actually do not have to use string concatenation in here. We can just separate the two into separate arguments, and that'll print out the correct string for us. And then immediately after printing out a little warning message right here that says, hey, it looks like something might be wrong with this domain, we'll put in a return statement to make sure that we don't do anything else inside of this function. Then after the if statement, assuming that there was no error, so assuming that error was nil, we'll print out a message that says, hey, it looks like this website is okay, and it's actually responding to traffic. So we'll say format.println, link, and is up. So either something went wrong, and we're assuming that the website is down, otherwise we assume everything is a-okay. And so again, we don't really need the response that comes back from the request to verify or make an assumption as to whether or not the website is up and responding to traffic. Okay, so here's our check link function. That's looking pretty good. Now all we have to do is make sure we call that check link function from within our for loop. So inside of here, we'll call check link and pass in our link. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. So at this point, we're going to make one request for each URL that we list in here. We'll make the request, we'll presumably print out some response, and then exit the program. Nothing else. Just one run through all these different links, print out the status, and that's it. So let's flip on over to our terminal. We're going to run this program, and we're just going to kind of observe the behavior and see what happens. So I'm going to flip back over to my terminal. I'm going to change into my channels directory, and then we'll run, go run main.go, our program. And so when we do, we see all these status messages start to print up. Now there is something kind of interesting here. You'll notice that the order in which we are making requests is the order in which we listed out all these URLs inside of our slice of string right here. And so that's actually something that's very important. Let's take a break right now, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit about exactly how our program is being executed right now and what type of issues we might run into considering how it's being executed. So quick break, and we'll come back and do a little bit of analysis on exactly how our program is running.